Hi everybody, this is Amanda Ellis. It's the 24th of January 2018. Still want to leap a month ahead and say February, but it is the 24th of January 2018. Apologies if there is, I think my glasses, there's going to be glare on my glasses throughout this video, but actually I'm very tired. My eyes are really tired, so I can't possibly put my contact lenses in. Those of you that have glasses understand that. And actually it's one of the reasons why I'm making this video today, because I had a very broken night's sleep last night, over and above the norm, and firstly couldn't get to sleep, and then every time I did get to sleep, just for fleeting moments, I kept waking up and I kept hearing one word, and the word was unprecedented, okay? And I thought, I wasn't sure what that meant in relation to why I kept hearing it over and over. Yesterday we had a 8.2 earthquake in Alaska, which is quite large. There was also an earthquake in Indonesia. My mind instantly went to earthquakes, to be honest. And I think I'll talk about that or ask Metatron about that. But because I'm going to talk about the word, I thought I'll just look up the definition of what unprecedented means, just to start us off. And it's quite interesting. I've just looked it up on Google, and it says unprecedented. It's something that's never been done or known before. And it's quite interesting because the example that they give, of all the examples they could give, is this. It says the government took the unprecedented step of releasing confidential correspondence. That has to be linked into USA. Two things instantly come to mind. Either correspondence linked into disclosure, or it's linked into the inquiry surrounding Donald Trump. It's not getting to the wrongs and the rights of it all, but it's just very interesting that that's the example that is given this morning on my phone of an example of what unprecedented means. And we know with angels that we have to follow the signs that they give us. They give us lots of signs. I always talk about the analogy of building a jigsaw, and you get a couple of the different pieces of the jigsaw and then you have to put them together to make up the whole picture. So that might be part of the picture. The fact that the government took the unprecedented step of releasing confidential correspondence. Doesn't have to just be about USA. I'm also drawn to the UK as well. I know I come from the UK, but I'm drawn there as well with regard to that disclosure that feels as though it's coming. So we'll see, won't we? But anyway, that's thrown me a little bit because it wasn't the thing I was going to talk about, but we'll see, won't we, what comes through in this video. What I would like to do, because I know a lot of us are feeling tired, and a lot of us have had broken night's sleeps, because I just put a little comment up on Facebook and straight away it's like bing, 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 lots of comments, everyone saying the same, that they're not sleeping properly, weird dreams, feeling very unsettled, a sense of something coming but not quite sure what. So what I'd like to do is also do a ceremonial thing for you today. Yesterday I received some beautiful incense and some very special incense, basically shamanic energy, and I'm going to do some smudging on us all, including myself, and I'm going to read you some information about what that's all about. Shall I do that now? Yes, I'll do that now. Okay, let's do it now. Suzanne, thank you very much for your gift that arrived yesterday from Arizona, and it's always exciting, isn't it, when you get parcels in the post. So this parcel arrived and it's covered in USA postage stamps. I thought, oh, okay, don't remember ordering anything, but obviously somebody sent me something, thank you very much. And I opened up the box, and inside it I've been sent this feather, which I'll just show you, put it up to the camera. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, beautiful feather. And I've also been sent some, where is it? Some sacred space incense to burn. So let me just read a little bit about what I'm going to do and what we're actually using here so you understand. And I'll just read some of Suzanne's words to me, because I feel although it was a gift for me, I also feel it's something that I'm meant to do for the collective. So those of you that are watching, you probably need the smudging as much as I do, because we are feeling weary, and then we'll get into some channeling about what does unprecedented mean. So she says, introduced to shamanic purifying ceremony to assist. And straight away I'm being told I need to go and grab the beautiful painting that I've got of the elder. Let me just get that. Crash bang wallop. Right, he needs to go up, even though these other paintings are beautiful. We need him. There we go. Okay, that's my elder. Right, let me go back. So, shamanic purifying ceremony, using the sacred space, you basically smoke, smudge the body, and the components within what I'm going to be burning it includes the bark of the sacred Palo Santo tree. Palo Santo was used by, I think it says Inca shamans for centuries, to promote peace, tranquility and protective energy and create boundaries of divine protection. Let me just repeat that. To promote peace, tranquility and protective energy and create a boundary of divine protection. So we're going to be using that, and then the feather that I'm going to be using to release it and to send the healing to you and to me. This beautiful feather, let's put that up to the camera again. It's born from Narayevo land, excuse my pronunciation, the Kohola cactus handle, feathers and even the piece of turquoise in the back of the handle come from the shaman's land. I've got a little bit of turquoise there in the cactus, which is the handle. Isn't it stunning? Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, Suzanne. So let's light this and put some of the sacred space in. I've no idea how much I'm supposed to use, so I'm going to go for it here, because it feels like we need it. And I'm going to light this, and I'd just like you to settle down just to receive the gifts that this promotes. Some of you that are able to might well be able to smell the scent of it, which I know happens over the waves. Let's get a bit nearer to the camera. Oh, beautiful. Okay. So we are going to ask for a collective cleansing, a release of old wounds, anything that's holding us back from stepping into who we really are, all that we're capable of. And we're asking the elements of fire, earth, wind, and air to assist us. Just put it around myself. And if we are being asked and we are living through unprecedented times, which we are, we need to step into our true divine self. So what we're doing here is we're burning away all the little shadows, all the fears that hold us back from being able to step into that, knowing that when the time arises, and we are called to action, whatever that means. That we have within us all the light, all the spiritual gifts that we need. We also have the gifts bestowed from our ancestors, their strengths, their talents, their abilities. And we have spirit around us also. Okay. Let's just put that up to the camera. It smells amazing. And just imagine that holy smoke coming around your crown and being shown the crown in particular on many of us, the mind, taking it down through the body, down through the 12 chakras, from the stellar gateway all the way down to our earth star, down to our feet, down to our feet. Okay, I'm going to leave that burning. Ooh, it's beautiful. I think I'm addicted. Hold on. Just want to light it again. You can't rush ceremony, I'm being told. It's half the battle with society now, and us. We want to rush things. Tell me, move on, move on. No, let's just sit with this a moment. Sit with the clearance that Mother Earth wishes to help you with. Can you feel that? Stilling of spirit is what I feel. A stilling of spirit and coming back to the truth of ourselves, the strength of ourselves, the ability that we all have, that we try and block a lot of the time subconsciously because of fear and doubt. And back to the word that I heard this morning, or all through last night, unprecedented. Unprecedented can be, what Metatron is saying is that if you think of evolution, evolution of yourself, evolution of the species, evolution of this planet, then evolution sometimes needs a push, something to happen that creates the next stage. And we've seen it if you look back at the history of the world. There have been things that have happened which have moved us on. Sometimes it's been the power of an invention, the dawning of new ages, the Industrial Revolution, the digital revolution. There've also been things that Mother Earth herself has done to move us on, whether it be Ice Age, meteor. Think of the dinosaurs, and one day they were here, the next day they weren't. Think of how man has evolved over thousands of years. But it's been a relatively slow process. And what's happening now is that that evolutionary process is speeding up. But our bodies are still lagging behind a little bit. So what we have to do is to tell our bodies that they can do it, that they were actually born for the times that we're coming into. One thing that I was told very clearly this morning was that this year, 2018, we know is going to be a year of great change. And I don't think it's any surprise for any of you watching this to hear that some of those changes are going to be brought about through the elements. I've talked about that before. So big things to occur. Let's talk about earthquakes. Let's talk about volcanoes. Okay, in particular, those two things are very, very key, although there are also water-related events. And last year I talked a lot about protection in terms of setting up, for example, grids, crystal grids, to have in your home to protect your home. And I think it was when we were having the hurricane season in particular. And they definitely worked, because there were towns that had been decimated, but yet the people that had set up their grids were okay. Now we can carry on doing that, and I'll make another video on that. But I'm also being told that also remember that it's about going into deep faith and deep trust when something happens around us that is out of our control. And that ultimately, if you are meant to be here and carry on, you will do so. Think of all the stories of all the big events that have happened already in our world. Maybe 9/11 comes to mind as an example. The people, for whatever reason, phoned in sick on the day, or the people that were supposed to be on the meeting on the 18th floor, but for whatever reason their cab didn't arrive to take them to the tower. There is this thing about we all always are in the place that we are meant to be in. And if the soul has already decided that it's had enough, thank you very much, of this particular incarnation, and it's actually going to rest and go back to spirit and come back again at some point, but this incarnation is done, then your soul will place you where that is going to happen, or something will come in to make that reality, whether it's illness, accident, whatever. The soul is always in charge. But if ultimately you are meant to stay, and that applies probably to most people watching this, because as light workers, we are desperately needed on this planet, because although our numbers are growing, there's still an awful lot of people in darkness. There's still an awful lot of people who haven't woken up. There's still an awful lot of people who are holding this planet back and who are not aspiring to a greater good. So if you're still meant to be here to carry on the work, to keep shining your light, and only your soul knows whether that is true or not your 3D lower self, it's your soul that knows it, you will be kept out of harm's way, even in the force of a hurricane, even in the force of a tidal wave, even in the force of a volcano. I really am being told that very strongly. You know, thinking back over some of the world events that have happened already, I'm thinking about the tsunami that happened in, where did it happen? I should know that off the top of my head. Apologies. Thailand, wasn't it? Thailand, that's that area of the world. A couple of years ago, and there was those extraordinary scenes that some of us saw live happening as the waves rolled in. And unfortunately, of course, many people did die. But there were also amazing stories of people who somehow, even when they were being carried by the wave, somehow got caught hold of a branch of a tree, or found somebody who just gave them an arm and lifted them up out of safety. And what you have to start to appreciate is that that branch that is just there at the moment that you need to hang on to it, or the arm that extends out to pull you up, is actually the hand of God. It's the branch of God. It's when Spirit intervenes to say, whatever is going on around you, whatever the elements may produce this year, if you're meant to be here, we will pull you out of it. Okay, so it's very important that you remember that message. Very, very important. I was shown it so vividly. So that's the first thing that I want to say. Second thing that I want to say, second vision, impression, image that I was shown in my mind today when I knew I wanted to do this video for you, is I was thinking about events that are to come. The volcanoes, the earthquakes. I'm not saying anything that isn't already happening, by the way, okay? These are already happening. It's just there's going to be an escalation and a continuation of it, more so than previous years, because the earth is having to move. She's having to ascend. Interestingly, before I looked up the word of unprecedented, which is also about unprecedented growth, unprecedented evolution, for some reason I picked up a dictionary and I was actually trying to look up the word procrastinate. And I found that quite interesting. It's like, why am I looking up the word procrastinate when actually I was trying to look up the word unprecedented? But in a way, that's what we've all been doing. We've all been procrastinating, including Mother Earth. She's been holding back for as long as she possibly can to see whether we as a species are going to get it, whether we're going to start to look after our fellow man, whether we're going to start to protect the species that are dying, whether we're going to look after our land. And she's held on till the 11th hour possible. But it's like anything, ultimately she has to expand, she has to grow, she has to ascend to a 5th dimensional consciousness, and she will do so. But she wants to take us with her. And so she's been procrastinating to a degree in the same way that we have. So what comes in this year, and it starts off in January in a big way. I feel as though January almost sets the scene for the rest of the year, personally and collectively, is that I was being shown, it sounds a little bit crass to say it, but I'm going to say it because it's the way it was presented to me. It's as though she's going to put on the most beautiful display of her power through 2018, through the elements of fire in particular and earth. If you think about a volcano, take away the human aspect of it and the fact that people have chosen to maybe live around a volcano or have chosen to live right on a fault line, knowing that you are living on a fault line or knowing that you are living right underneath a volcano. It's like, take that away for one moment and just see that that volcano, that fault line has been there forever. I know fault lines change and volcanoes are always, moving, and sometimes they're dormant and sometimes they blow. But ultimately, we, man, have chosen to live close to some very precarious places on our planet. And it's been holding in, trying, not wanting to hurt anybody. But ultimately it gets to a place where it has to release. And so she's saying to me, and this is Gaia is saying, that actually there is going to be the most beautiful show. Almost, the way it was presented to me was like a firework display in the night, okay? Beautiful colours, beautiful light, heat. You think about the volcano and actually assuming you're away from it, it's a stunning, beautiful sight. The reds, the oranges, the textures, the smells. If you were sort of in space looking down at what's happening, the earth would be looking as though it suddenly burst into life, and what we have to do is honour that process that needs to happen. And you can either go into fear with it and think, oh my God, look at the red lava rising, look at that meteor that's coming down, where's it going to land? Or you can actually just stand back knowing that you are ultimately okay, you're safe, you're protected, assuming you're meant to be here. But I firmly believe those of us that are in the light, most of us are meant to carry this wave, this collective wave of consciousness to the next the level that we can reach. We're being asked to stand back in awe, actually, and it's literally almost like, look at that beauty, look how amazing it is. And that's going to be hard to do, I understand that, but it is what I was shown, okay? So there is this choice between going into fear and going into almost awe. The other thing that comes in with these big events that are to take place, going back to the word unprecedented, okay, we might be in times of unprecedented challenge to come, but we are in times of the most unprecedented opportunity for man, humankind, to come together and help each other, support each other, show their love for each other, for their neighbour, for their fellow man. And boy, do we need it, you know. Metatron's talking to me about that horrific case in America over the last couple of weeks, the Turpin family. Is it 13, 19 children that were just kept away from society and tortured, beaten, you know, weren't even allowed to stay up during the day, had to sleep, no, that's right, had to sleep during the day and be up at night. Horrific, absolutely horrific. But you know what the most horrific thing about it is? The fact that nobody in the community noticed. I mean, my God, my heart just breaks thinking about that. Nobody in the community noticed that there were these number of children in that house being abused. Nobody in the families appreciated it, or it just happened. It happened in full view of a town, of a village, of a country. And that's not singling out America. It could happen anywhere. Happens here in the UK on lesser scales, of course it does. But, you know, during times of great challenge, which are to come, it is our opportunity as a species to wake up and start to actually think about the person next door, the person in the next street, the person in the next town, the person in the next country, and rally to help. So actually these unprecedented times that we're coming into is actually a rallying call. It's a rallying call to stir our souls and to help us evolve and aspire to be better men and better women. And we are more than equipped to be able to do that. You know, the greatest truth is that when you go through difficulties in life, usually you actually find how strong you are, okay? I've got the song by Kelly Clarkson in my head, Stronger. It's quite, I like the song. It's on my iPod. When I go to the gym, I often listen to it. And there's such truth in it. You do not realise how strong you are until you are tested. And I can absolutely assure you that most people, when they're presented with that challenge, they don't crumble. They actually rise to the challenge. On my Facebook page this morning, somebody left a comment, and it must have been somebody who had, I guess was on the west coast of either America or Canada yesterday. And they had woken up, whether it was in the middle of the night or whether it was in the early morning hours, to the tsunami alert that had come in. And I think it was a lady. What she said was she was surprised at the level of calmness, stillness, and strength that came over her in a time where, rightly, she could have gone into panic and fear and meltdown mode. But that's the whole point. You don't go into panic and meltdown mode, because what happens, particularly those of us that are on our spiritual path, and that's why we're being asked to lead, that's why we're meant to stay here, is because we lead by example. And we lead by example because we've already opened up to Spirit. And so during those times of challenge, what happens is Spirit steps in, and Spirit doesn't just comfort you, it leads you through it. How many times have, my mum's often talked about this actually, you know, she's at an age where obviously some of her friends maybe are starting to die now. And she's always commented that she's always found it extraordinary that people at times of great grief, as an example, find just this inner strength, which they didn't know they had, to get through the darkest hours. And you have to really think about, well, where does that inner strength come from? Sure, it comes from your own reserves, but I believe it also comes from God, okay? And, you know, God is there right within tragedy. God is there right within our darkest moments. God is there right within our challenges. And we will not be abandoned. It is as simple as that. But through these times that are coming, we are going to evolve as a species. And it's going to be the biggest awakening that we have seen in a long, long time on this planet. So a difficult birth, but like a difficult birth, sometimes you get the most beautiful baby at the end of it. And that's what it's all about, okay? So I really felt that that needed saying today. Let me just now sink into anything else that wants to come through, okay? And I'm going to turn to Metatron, and I'm going to just use one of the sprays. And he's telling me to use this one, which is the Midnight Indigo. Midnight Indigo is a vibration which is called light in the dark, okay? The light in the dark. because the truth is you will always be given a light in the dark. Spirit never just turns the lights off, okay, and disappears. Spirit is always there. Even when you feel that you can't feel them, they are there. So let's just spray this and see what Metatron wants to say to us through the Indigo Ray today, okay? There will be times to come through this creation process of the new earth where hard work will be required of you to dig into your spirit. But equally know that we in the spiritual realms will also be digging deeper than we have ever gone before to bring an equivalent amount of light to you. Also know that during this creation process, very much like baking a loaf of bread, there will be times after you have kneaded the dough and it has been hard work, you will be required to take a step back and pause before the next stage of the creation process is to occur. It will be very important during such times that you do pause, take a step back, and do not try and meddle with what has already occurred. Allow what is to occur to settle, and do not keep going back, meddling, trying to improve, stepping in where you are not meant to. So I am being given the analogy of bread here for some reason. And I've also got the Christ energy here as well. And Christ is saying that ultimately, of course, he what's he saying? He's saying he transformed those 5 loaves of bread and fish into enough for everybody that was within that crowd, for the thousands that were there. And that process of alchemy happened without any intervention other than allowing the divine to do its work, based on the materials that were given to it at that time. I'm being shown images of, I don't know where I'm being shown in the world because it doesn't matter, it's symbolic, but places that have been, for want of a better word, flattened or destroyed by natural phenomena, not war, natural phenomena. And I see people stepping back with their arms like this, surveying the scene, wondering how do they rebuild, where do they start? And in front of them lies maybe one branch, one brick, one nail, one hammer, and Christ is saying you start with that. And all you have to do is pick up that hammer, pick up that nail, pick up that brick, pick up the stick. And by doing that act of wanting to help yourself and your fellow man, because you rebuild for the collective, Spirit comes in like an army of light, extra helpers, to rebuild not just the whole village but the whole community. And what is replaced versus what has gone is better, more beautiful, more structured, more withstanding than before, because it has been built by the community out of love, through mutual cooperation and respect, rather than having been built via somebody else for money. Okay, thank you. Back to Metatron. I'm seeing the fish, which I know is a symbol of early Christianity, but Metatron is showing me the fish now. And he's talking about the oceans of the world. And he's asking us to collectively send light to the oceans of the world. Because he's saying what is happening is a lot of us have gone into fear with regard to the state of the elements, which we understand, he says. However, fear creates more fear. And when you think of, for example, the ocean and pollution and dwindling fish supplies or dwindling coral supplies, you create even more of that. Can we please start to think of the ocean as an abundant place that is filled with food, fish, colour, light, purity. And he's asking me now to light some of this sacred space, incense, and we are going to send some to the oceans of the world. And he's saying it's so important that we do this because, don't forget, we are water. You know, this is Dr. Emoto here as well. We are water. We're 70% made up of water. So all of us relate to the element of water very, very strongly. And we really need to be sending some healing to our oceans. But please, please, he's saying, do not go into fear on this. And do symbolic acts. There's something that's going on, I don't know whether it's just in the UK or whether it's worldwide, but it's a local initiative I've noticed, where, because I live near the sea, I'm 10 minutes from the beach, and it's saying every time you go down to the beach, please pick up a piece of plastic, or I don't know, pick up any debris on the beach, or just pick up a stone on the beach, bless it, like you would a crystal, ask the angelic energies and the shamanic energies to be with it, and ask that stone to hold the vibration of purity and peace and throw it into the sea as far as you can. In fact, Metatron's saying don't just do one. He's like, I'm being shown, because he's got humour, Metatron, he's trying to lighten us up. He's saying, you know, pick a whole load of them up and just throw them, you know, as long as it's safe. The act of doing that, again, is about action. There's this thing coming through from both Metatron and Christ, which is about helping ourselves. So even if it seems a very small thing to do, picking up one piece of rubbish from the beach or throwing one stone into the water, by us doing that, we are proactively we're showing to the universe that we care. And by us doing that, then I'm being shown this army of light that comes in and then picks up another, I don't know, 1,000 stones symbolically off the beach and puts them into the water, and they're put back onto the seabed with the vibration of purity. And the stones on the seabed that you have thrown back, I'm being shown that they have like oxygen bubbles. I don't even know if that's scientifically possible, but oxygen bubbles that sort of come from them, and just purify the space. I'm being shown an aquarium now. My dad used to keep fish, and in an aquarium, if you keep fish, you put particular plants, don't you, that create, is it oxygen? I guess it is oxygen into the water, oxygenate the water. If you've got a pond, you know there are particular plants that you place into the pond, or particular stones that just keep the water fresh. That's what we're doing. Anyway, we're also just sending some healing light to our oceans. Let's see then now what the earth wants to say, the land wants to say. I am so tired, she is saying. Actually, what I'm feeling with Mother Earth today, and I've never felt it before from her, and I don't feel at all threatened by it, or, you know, I know it's not, she's not doing it to me, but I'm feeling her anger. I'm feeling her anger today. Of course she's loving, and of course she will forgive us. She's irritated. She's got like something she wants to scratch on her back and she can't get to it, and she's crotchety. She's like the woman in labour who gets bad-tempered and crotchety. And those of us that are women that have been in labour understand what I mean. There is that point in labour where maybe your husband comes in and tries to help you and you just want him to F off, sorry, but you do. You just want to push him away. It's like, get off me, don't touch me, you know? I need to do this. I need to just do this. That's the energy I'm getting from her. What do you need, Gaia, from us? What do you need from us? I need you to stand back. I need you to stand back and let me do what I need to do. She's like the exasperated mother who has tried so hard to teach us. And she's tried to teach us through her beauty, and we still haven't got it. We still disrespect her. It's like she's apologising now, because ultimately she's a loving, sentient being. She's like a mother that's got cross with her offspring, but ultimately she loves her offspring. And of course, even though she's just got cross with us, she now wants to give us a hug. But we need to give her some space. That's a serious point. We need to give her some space. How do we do that? Metatron, how do we do that? Right, okay, what I'm being told, what he's saying to me, excuse me, my nose is going, oh, my nose is going. Keep your nose out of it, I'm being told. Now, what I mean by that is that those of you that are healers understand this analogy very well, which is that for healing to ultimately occur, deep, lasting healing, you have to, as a healer, you have to get out of the way, okay? So if you come to me for healing and you're my client and I've got everything prepared and you lie down on the bed and I spray my sprays and I put my crystals on, I put my hands on you, it's all well and good. I'm facilitating the process of your healing. You also have to do the work, by the way, as well. But as a healer, I'm there, I'm a facilitator. But what I cannot do as a healer is I can't get in the way. I can't dictate what's going to be healed and how it's going to be healed. And by what time is it going to be healed? Because actually I've got a hair appointment in an hour. Let's hope it's done by then. You have to get out of the way for the divine to work through you to create the best healing for your client. And your client has to get out of the way, which means their own blocks, their own thoughts of it's not going to work. That's about surrender. I just surrender to a higher power. That's when the miracles happen. That's when the healing happens. And that's what the earth needs right now. She needs us to get out of the way, to stop trying to control it. We cannot control it. We can't control this year. We're on a roller coaster. You've signed up for it. You bought the ticket long before you incarnated, and you bought that ticket with glee. And there were other people that did not get the ticket and were disappointed, and who are cheering you on now, who are cheering us on as a species. And on the roller coaster, you can either go into the biggest fear of your life and think, oh my God, get me off. What the hell is this? I feel sick. Or I don't even want to get on it in the first place. Or you get on it, and once you're in it and you're strapped in, because we are, you open your eyes and you just think, wow. And I'll be truthful with you, I've never been on a roller coaster in my life. I'm terrified of them. Okay? But I know I need to do it just as much as you do. Little steps. And doing it together. Again, the analogy of being in the roller coaster, even if you are scared, if you've got somebody beside you who's holding your space, who's maybe holding your hand, who ultimately you know will be there for you, makes it an awful lot easier. Right, that's what Mother Earth wants to say. Let's see what the element of fire wants to say. The element of fire feels very misunderstood. Fire is a great, great purifier. Fire is one of the greatest purifiers that we have. Now, who was I reading the other day? I was reading something, maybe it was just on Facebook, I really can't remember, and it was talking about, sounds a bit morbid, but it was talking about the death process and cremation. Maybe it was even in my little book, I can't remember. Anyway, and it was talking about, you know, when we die, obviously the physical body has to be disposed of. And the physical body, obviously our soul is long gone, it's free, it's beautiful, you know. But the physical body has to be disposed of, and it has to be respected, but the physical body is where all the fear's been, you know. So when you cremate a body, actually what you're doing is you're releasing all the fear that that body ever held, all of the densest vibrations it ever held, all of the shocks, the terrors, the whatever had happened to it is transmuted by the fire. And yet still people look at fire as a horrifying thing. It's all to do with the way that we look at things. Okay, what about these wildfires, Metatron? Look after the animals, I'm hearing. Okay, the wildfires at the highest level. I'm not acknowledging how horrendous it must be to have your home threatened or your life threatened. I'm not underestimating that at all. But this is a channel where we talk about the highest vision, the highest interpretation. And what I'm being shown is that this is all about helping us as a species understand that possessions mean nothing. Possessions are nice to have, but they have no real meaning. We sort of know that, but we don't really accept it. Until a time where you've maybe had something taken away from you by fire, but you've still got your life. And in that moment you realise the preciousness of life. And that actually that's all that's important. But I'm really feeling the animals very strongly. Wondering whether to pull an animal card. I think I will. I wasn't going to use any cards today at all, but I feel like I want to pull an animal card. Just get my deck. she said, where are they? Hold on. Yeah. Stephen Farmer. Messages from your animal. Let's see which animal is wanting to say something to us. The noisiest oracle cards you will ever find, these. Maybe that's symbolic though. The animals want to get our attention. One thing before I pull the card for the animal. Oh, it's just fallen out. Okay. We'll look at that in a moment. Sorry, what was I going to say? One thing about the animals is that, back to fire as an example, as a destroyer, but ultimately it shows you what's really important in life. Because if, again, that analogy of life and death, when we die, most of us are cremated, we go to flame. But equally, flame is the thing that rebirths us. It's the phoenix that rises from the ashes. So as well as showing us what is important in life, and it's not possessions, the animals are really, I'm just feeling them so strongly. It's like they're really important. You know, don't forget them in the fires. Right, I've got one card that has come out, but it flew out. I just want one more to go with it. No, I'm being told no, you can't have another card. Okay, I've got to have this one. The Walrus. Now, was there a Beatles song about the walrus? There was, wasn't there? Oh, God, I'm going to have to look it up. Hold on, I'm going to pause the camera. Hi. Yeah, the animals are really wanting attention. Now, I just pulled a card. So I just had to turn my camera off and I've put it back on. So I pulled a card when in that moment. And the card that's come up is the card of the walrus. Which is unusual. It's an unusual animal to come forward. But this is what it says. It says, that's the card. You see that? Walrus. And it says, remain vigilant about the current situation. Pay attention to signs and omens and let them dictate your choices. But I'm also hearing the Beatles song in my mind, which is I Am the Walrus. Now, I must admit, I'm not a particular fan of the Beatles, apart from Let It Be. Well, Yesterday was quite good as well, but I'm not a big Beatles fan. So I've actually just had to look up. I thought there was a Walrus song, and it isn't. It's called I Am the Walrus. And slightly trippy words, to be perfectly honest. Is this from Sergeant Pepper? Maybe. But anyway, the first verse grabs me. I am he, as you are me, and we are all together. See how they run like pigs from a gun. See how they fly, I'm crying. It is a bit trippy as a song, but anyway, maybe there's something in that. Maybe you Beatles fans can illuminate me. But anyway, we've got the walrus here. I don't know about you, but looking at him, he doesn't look like he's going anywhere, you know? Doesn't look like he's about to be moved. It's quite a stubborn energy, actually, coming from him. Let's see what Stephen says. What's the message that goes with this card? Why's that one come? And when I was shuffling them, this actually totally flew out of the deck. So, walrus. Of all the animals, walrus. Okay. Okay, I'm going to read the associations. The associations are about being fluid, being watchful, being alert. It's about transitions, the earth, water, survival. It's linked to shamanism. Okay, so maybe it is quite relevant then. Signs and omens show up in myriad ways, from the wind's rustle of the trees that make it seem as if they're whispering to you, to the rainbow that appears just before an event in which you're participating. When you're pondering any kind of question about your life, you can ask Spirit to give you clear and specific signs. Then watch, listen, feel, and allow thoughts to flow. Look for the unusual and repetitive signs. Right, I think that's probably linked into the fact that we need to be listening to and watching for signs of, Spirit will give us signs basically when something is about to happen. And let's just take that away from the elements now. It's also true of other things in life, other things that might be happening in your life, whether it's to do with, I don't know, relationships that are changing, people that might be passing over, positive things like baby might be about to wanting to be conceived. I don't know, you know, it's all the myriad experiences of life, but just being open to the signs. Right, let's finish with air. The air element, anything to say? The air around you can be contaminated with other people's fear, with other people's prejudices, with other people's lower vibration. The air element speaks of the need to keep purifying the air in which you breathe. In your rooms of your house, your office, particularly before you sleep at night. And again, wherever you live and whatever situation you find yourself in, knowing that you can transform the air that you breathe to a positive light healing vibration through positive intention, thought and practice. If I choose to believe that the air that I'm breathing is poisonous and thick with negativity, I take that into my body, even if that is the truth of the air that I breathe. If I choose to breathe the air into my body and believe it to be light and sustaining and full of hope, that is what it becomes within me. Let each breath that you take be a breath of air which includes the energy of hope and renewal and revival and health. Okay, we've got to do the cosmos. It's the fifth element. Let's just do this as well. Cosmos. We are watching. You are not alone. You are being reminded to link into your soul groups around the earth during 2018. You need your fellow brothers and sisters of light. And these brothers and sisters of light are equally from different dimensions and planetary systems. The Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the Sirians, Andromeda, many more. You will know by vibrational feel who you naturally are linked to. Please also, though, do not create division amongst yourself. If you belong to the Pleiadian family, Realise too that we are linked and friendly with others from different galaxies. Do not exclude others. But realise that there is a wealth of support and love and light from your galactic friends and tribe and family, and that you can harness their light, their healing, their support any time that you wish. Coming in via the crown chakra. I'm being shown like a little satellite dish effectively that we've all got on top of our head that none of us can see. But it's basically already tuned in to where you come from. But it's also tuned into Mother Earth. Don't just escape into the Palladian galaxies and beyond. You're also tuned in. You had a mission to come here to Earth. Okay? I've always linked very strongly with the Sirius energy. So let's just see if we can channel a message from them. Syrian High Command. Yes, I am here. Yes, I am with you. Yes, I applaud you. Yes, I encourage you. Yes, we honour you. Yes, we are committed to your mission as you are committed to it with feet upon Mother Earth. How magnificently is she doing? How magnificently are you doing? How magnificently are you and your brothers and sisters doing? We are so proud of you. You do not need us to directly intervene at this time, for you are already there. You already walk among the others upon your earth. You carry our bloodline, our light, our skills, our abilities, our gifts. Use them well. Do not hold back. This is what you came to do, and you will do it, and you will do it well. Look around you and see others, friends from other galactic families, the Palladians, the Arcturians, so many of you walking this earth, all with a slightly different gait and gaze, all with a slightly different tone and feel, but all united by this galactic brotherhood that watches over Earth as one of her own, in a star system that is vaster than anybody on Earth could ever imagine. We love you, we bless you, and we honour your work. We are already with you. We are not separate. We are already here. And we are having fun. And we are learning. You can do this. Okay. Okay, Metatron would like me to end just by lighting the incense again. Final bit of cleansing. All is well. Just breathe that in. Let's take 3 deep breaths in together. Breathing in light. Breathing out light. Breathing in light. Breathing out light. Breathing in light. Breathing out light. Unprecedented times, unprecedented growth, unprecedented evolution. All is well on your planet. We love you. Namaste. Keep well, everyone. Sending you lots of love. Bye-bye for now.